for today's match between the University of British Columbia Thunderbirds and your California Golden Bears. Ladies and gentlemen, will you now please welcome the UBC Thunderbirds. Please welcome your California Golden Bears. And now, would all those who are able to do so, please stand for the playing of the Canadian National Anthem. And now, please remain standing for the Star-Spangled Banner.
It is a perfect day for rugby here in Berkeley, California. Good afternoon and welcome to Witter Rugby Field. I'm Keegan Engelbrecht, bringing you all of the action in the final match of a doubleheader weekend here in Strawberry Canyon between the California Golden Bears and the University of British Columbia Thunderbirds. Today marks the return of the historic World Cup Series, which spans a full century of competition between Cal and UBC. Makes its return after a 5-year hiatus, with today's match serving as the first of a 2-leg series that will continue in Vancouver next year. You see California travel up to British Columbia. The two teams split the series in 2020, each claiming a win on its home turf. Cal defeated UBC on homecoming in Strawberry Canyon in February of 2020 with a final score of 36-21, while the Thunderbirds took the second leg of the series, defeating Cal 31-8 in Vancouver. We are underway with the burst of the whistle from referee Morris Fuller and the right boot of Ran Santos. Scrum half Stephen Webb shaping for a kick for the Thunderbirds, putting Ollie Newell under pressure, taken very well from a pursuing James Bliss. Here's Iramea. Iramea now the big eighth man for Cal. California earning themselves a penalty. Tackler not rolling away, it looks like. It was a good kick from Webb and a good early take from Oliver Newell, the Cal fullback. Cal's fielding their most experienced side this afternoon. Senior Tom Dixon, Cade Christ, and Captain Charlie Walsh in the front row. Hugo Schroeder and Seamus Deely as locks, with John Puckett, Brian Boyna, and Iramea in the number 8 jersey. Christ unable to connect with his jumper, but regathered by California. Here's Williams now in a wide ball to Boyna, who's unable to bring it in with a skill breakdown, and UBC wants to play. That's Talon McMullen kicking away the advantage. Here comes Ollie Newell crossing over halfway. De Beer now with a carry. Puckett. Very well defended from the Thunderbirds. Nice little show and go from Santos, finding himself a bit of space. Emmett Cook in support, but the pass just not going to hand. It's a good step from Ran Santos. Good intent from California. Solomon Williams and Ran Santos, the halfback pairing for Cal this afternoon, with Mikael De Beer and Max Threlkeld in the centers, with Emmett Cook, Joe Kirsten, and Oliver Newell making up the deep three. Scrum time now for UBC. Cohen Buckingham, Emmett Allen, and Peyton Tenek. Saul Jacks, Joe McNulty, with Liam Kinghorn, Elijah McQueen, and Relmu Wilson Valdez. 5 of the 8 forwards for UBC having earned Canada U20s honors. So plenty of experience in this side, as Wilson Valdez with a strong carry. That pass from Webb not going to hand, but regathered by the Thunderbirds. Good tackle from Charlie Walsh on McQueen, the open side flanker. Another high ball from Webb. Again, read well by Oliver Newell. There's Puckett working around the fringes. Williams to Schroeder now. Santos. Wide ball to Kirsten with a double miss. Kirsten doing well to stay in bounds. Well tackled by Max McGavern. Santos a very flat ball to Puckett. Offsides, I think, was the call. The rest of the back line from the Thunderbirds, we're seeing Stephen Webb and James Biss, both having represented Canada at the U20 level. Talon McMullen and Alistair Marshall, with Max McGavern, Liam James, and Ben Beauchamp as the fullback. It's a good deep kick from Santos, deep into that right corner. It's a good attacking platform for California, having earned their way deep into Thunderbird territory. Out of screen and directly beneath our tower here, we see Emmett Cook lined up very wide on this near touchline as Tom Dixon brings the ball down for the Bears. Here's De Beer. Well tackled and handled by the Thunderbirds. Struggling to get the ball down is De Beer. Ball squirts loose and we play on. Aaron Mayo with a big carry. It's going to take a number of birds to bring him down this afternoon, no doubt. Well tackled by Liam James on Rand Santos. Here's Walsh. Bears forward pack shaping to the right. Little inside ball back into De Beer. Good hands from California. Good skills again, well tackled by Liam James on Cade Christ. California doing a good job of maintaining possession, stringing some phases together, but a very staunch British Columbian defense. Here's Threlkeld now. Threlkeld, having been capped in November for Hong Kong, will be leaning on all of that international experience in today's contest as Christ manages to get behind the defense. Advantage being played here. Again, not rolling away, says the referee. Early opportunity to get some points on the board. California having been in the Thunderbird half for a few minutes now. And an opportunity for them to pick up 3 points as a reward for their efforts so early on in this match. Ticking the scoreboard over, critical in these big games for both sides. I mentioned UBC bringing an impressive pedigree to the pitch this weekend. They've won 5 of the last 7 Canadian University Men's Rugby Championship titles. And claiming the national title 3 years in a row, the Birds settled for bronze last November. This season they hold a 7-4-1 record in the 24-25 season, which includes a 38-27 win over Central Washington back in January in Bellingham. It's a good kick from Santos. Picking up 3 points, a well-earned 3 points for California. It's 3-0 in favor of the Bears in the 9th minute of this contest. Charge down from Santos, bounces right back into his hands, and he's off to the races, finding himself a bit of space. Schroeder doing well to support. Here's Christ. Threlkeld now wants to use his right boot, spotting a bit of space down the right side. Well gathered by Max McGavern. And another infringement spotted by referee Morris Fuller. for a no-arm tackle, it looks like, and perhaps a little bit of back chat as well as the referee continues to march off additional meters. Santos may be a bit frustrated with himself from that kick, but having found touch nearly on the 22, sees another attacking line out for California. Schroeder off the top. Santos now to Iramea into the midfield. Tackled well, and a double tackle by McMullen and Marshall. The centers for UBC. Santos finds some space. If they can convert, it's try time. Well tackled by Beauchamp on his opposite number as Cal is meters away from the try line. It's try time. We hear the whistle and the arm in the air from referee Morris Fuller. Very good skills from the Bears there, converting that penalty and the attacking line out. It's 5 points for California. Oliver Newell, good job, ball in hand there. You thought he might have squandered the opportunity, opting to keep it as Emmett Cook was in pursuit and support. But the Bears able to carry over and translate the attacking opportunity to much needed points. Ball's going to stay across the face of the upright. Santos unable to work his draw, brings our score 8-0 in favor of California with about 11 minutes gone in this first half. Restart from McMullen to Santos again. Brought down by Alistair Marshall. Strong carry from John Puckett. Looks like Solomon Williams, might be shaping to kick. It's a good contest in the air from Ben Beauchamp. And well contested by a chasing Emmett Cook, unfortunately resulting in a knock-on for the Thunderbirds. Now we see scrum time nearly on the halfway. It's a big blindside for California with the balance of their forward pack shaping to the right side. It's a good push from UBC, putting California under all kinds of pressure as UBC comes away with that scrum. Ultimately deemed a forward pass as the eighth man got away from that scrum, Wilson Valdez. But a very big push from the Thunderbirds, putting Cal under a tremendous amount of pressure. I mentioned that large blindside, even larger now, as Cal's backline will still shape out to the right side. It's a better push from Cal. Williams now to Santos, putting a bit of chip in behind. Oliver Newell chasing. Can he come up with it? Unable to do so. Very brave from Oliver Newell, still down, but gathered up by UBC. Here's Biss in support, keeping the ball alive. Marshall now. Biss again. There's Talon McMullen. Unable to connect with Kinghorn, but gathered up by Liam James, the winger for the Birds. Good double tackle, Ryan Marshall and John Puckett on the front rower, Cohen Buckingham. Here's McMullen again, spotting a bit of space. It's a clever kick in behind the California defense. As Joe Kirsten pursues. Gets away from the defender, does Kirsten. Still ball in hand. This Cal's going to shape to get into their exit protocols. The kick from Sullivan Williams. It's a very tidy kick from Williams, relieving a tremendous amount of pressure, putting the ball out virtually on halfway. Good to see Oliver Newell walking off under his own power, contesting for that kick. Bravely so was Oliver Newell. I see a smile on his face. That's good to see. Masi Coy checking into the contest for Oliver Newell. Well, counter-rucked by Tom Dixon, illegally so, says the referee. Looks like the counter-ruck might have been legal, but offsides at that breakdown. I saw Talon McMullen warming up. This is well within his range, although it does look like he's going to opt instead for the line of touch, unable to find touch, as Kirsten returns that kick with interest. It's a good kick from Joe Kirsten. Emmett Allen with the throw-in, finds his jumper. Biss into McMullen. Well stripped by DeBeer, his opposite number. Here's Coy now, the replacement winger. Bit of a miscommunication with Emmett Cook. And jumped on by the Thunderbirds. McNulty now. Wilson Valdez. Biss. Thunderbirds playing quite quickly here. Here's McMullen with a spot at a half gap, keeping his legs alive. It's a great individual effort from Talon McMullen, as he's going to pick up 5 points for his side, bringing our score 8-5. Talon McMullen, tons of international experience, having represented Canada at the U20 level. And then most recently this summer earning 5 caps for his country at the senior men's level, making his debut against Scotland in July. He'll be causing all sorts of problems for the California midfield this afternoon, no doubt. As we just saw, very clever play, putting the ball in behind the defense and then spotting a bit of a gap. Turning on his burners, it's converted try. Brings our score 8 points to 7 in favor of Cal with a little over quarter hour gone. Santos gets us back underway. Gathered by Webb. Big collision from Tanaik and Iramea. Held up by Iramea, eventually brought down. Webb again shaping to kick, as we've seen him do, I think this the third time. Well taken by Emmett Cook, the sophomore from Alexandria, Virginia, unable to hold on to the ball. Birds now in attack. Space spotted by Webb. Read again by Cook. It's a good kick from Kirsten. If it can get out of bounds, it's going to be an excellent kick. Very well done by Kirsten. Changing ends of the field is Kirsten. So exciting to see the Thunderbirds back in Strawberry Canyon after a 5-year hiatus. This rivalry having kicked off for the first time in 1921. As Cal jumps on a turnover and then turns the ball over themselves. Elijah McQueen unable to hold on to that pass at his shins, in fairness to McQueen, resulting in a knock on and scrum center for Cal. Center scrums, such an attractive attacking option. Opportunities to go left or right. We can see Cook and Kirsten shaping to the right side. Reset this scrum. Just past the halfway mark of this first half. Enterprising rugby from both sides. No side really gaining the ascendancy just yet. Perhaps continuing to feel each other out. No lack of physicality, though, as Iramea picks from this base. Finding a bit of space is Iramea. Williams now to Christ. Santos. Threlkeld. Brought down by McMullen. Here's Puckett. Wide ball from Williams. Staggered defense from the Birds. And we see a double burst of the whistle from the referee. Perhaps the result of a number of infringements. I think that time it was offsides. Double burst of the whistle. So rarely a sign of good news for a side when you're deep in your own end. As a quick conference from referee Fuller and the 8th man, Relmu Wilson Valdez. Another opportunity for points for the Bears if they want to take it. Although it looks like Santos is shaping for another attacking lineout on that right side. Better kick from Santos. We'll see the line out set about 10, 12 meters from the try line. It's a nice ball from Christ, brought down by Schroeder. Now the Bears are going to work their rolling maul. If established, the rolling maul so difficult to stop as the Bears are gaining ground. Williams wants to play. De Beer with an underneath switch line off of his fly half. Birds celebrating. Looks like they were on that ball quickly. That's the open side flanker, Elijah McQueen, earning his side a much-needed turnover to relieve some of that pressure inside their own 22. I mentioned this fixture, so exciting to see on the calendar this year. And speaking with Coach Clark, it's great to have the Birds back in the Canyon. The focus this afternoon is going to be possession-based for his Bears. Masi Koi does well to stay in bounds, kick the ball back to avoid a turnover. Eventually brought down by the Thunderbirds. Coy with some very clever play along that touchline. Thunderbirds unable to connect. Beauchamp brought down just inside his half. Here's Tanaik now. Tanaik, the big man from Brandon, Manitoba. Looks like that ball is, in fact, going to travel out on the full. Well read by Joe Kirsten on the touchline there. An uncharacteristic mistake from the experience of Stephen Webb. Just going back to that conversation with Coach Clark, the focus for his side is possession this afternoon. If they can win the set piece, if they can hold on to the ball, they like their chances as they go over the top purposefully with that line out to John Puckett. Numbers and space for the Bears if they can use it. Threlkeld with a miss. Here's Mossy Coy, the replacement. Forward, says the referee. Good skill from the Bears. Good spot of space. And you love to see Mossy Coy, the replacement, getting involved early in such a big match. About 15 minutes remain in this first half. Bulk of play being had in the Thunderbirds' half of the field. Webb, Biss, Marshall now. Brought down by Santos. Webb kind of looks like he's going to shape for another kick from the base of that ruck, and does so. Well reclaimed by the Thunderbirds, keeping the ball alive. Now hacked through by the left foot of Kinghorn. Emmett Cook in pursuit and eventually dotted down by a supporting Mossy Coy. See a goal line dropout for California. Perhaps this is the opportunity for some territory for the Thunderbirds we're just discussing. Santos to Marshall. Marshall unable to catch it cleanly. Knock on, says the referee. It's an unfortunate mistake for Alistair Marshall. As we're going to pack down for another scrum. Looks like Emmett Allen, the hooker for UBC, didn't like the set. So we will repack once more. Good scrum from Cal. Well gathered by Iramea. Iramea going to need to be a big tackle from Biss on the 250-pound freight train. That is Iramea. Fran Santos keeping his feet alive. Little loose from Cal on that far touchline. Hacked through from Threlkeld as the ball eventually dribbles into touch. To knock on from the Bears. So we'll come back for the scrum in front of the grandstand. Good attendance this afternoon at Witter Rugby Field. Many folks coming out on the Sunday of a holiday weekend to be treated to some high-quality university rugby. Good push from the Thunderbirds, eventually earning themselves an advantage. We will come back to the penalty at scrum time as the Thunderbird forward pack celebrates, and rightly so. It was a big push from UBC as McMullen's going to work the ball even deeper into Cal territory. Mentioned it earlier, and I think jinxed the Thunderbirds, so I'll hold off my comments now. But good possession and good territory for the Birds as they're going to work their rolling maul. Emmett Allen at the back of that maul, I think, with the ball. Webb. McMullen wants to reverse play. McGavern dumping the ball back off to McMullen. I think that's Kinghorn, the blindside flanker. The carry into contact. Slipping loose is number 5, Joe McNulty. Catching everybody off guard at that breakdown. It's a heads-up play for McNulty, and it's a heads-up try for the UBC Thunderbirds. Good run of play from the Thunderbirds, earning themselves a big scrum penalty. The ball worked deeper into the territory. I mentioned much of the play being played in the UBC territory, but the Thunderbirds demonstrating an ability to score points when they're on offer, working their way into the California half of the field. Unable to convert is Stephen Webb, the sophomore scrum half for the Birds. That leaves our score 12 points to 8 in favor of UBC with a little under 10 minutes left in first half action. I'm Keegan Engelbrecht. You're watching California versus British Columbia here on ESPN+. Restart gathered well by Alistair Marshall, the center. Deep ball this time to McMullen. Into the waiting arms of Rand Santos. Santos likes to run. We see a ball dumped into Mossy Coy. He's slippery as Coy, the freshman from Sacramento, California. Brian Boyno with the big carry in. Santos, Threlkeld. De Beer. Opportunity for offload As DeBeer holds onto the ball and keeps his legs alive. 10 meters out now are the Bears. Walsh now into the defense. Santos, Threlkeld. Tidy hands from Threlkeld. Masi Coy with a big left step, doing a good job of staying in bounds. Big Tom Dixon with a carry. Seamus Dealey now picking around the ruck, tackled back into the ruck by the Thunderbirds. Boyna. Only a meter or two out from the try line now are the Bears. I think that's Hugo Schroeder. Crossing over for try time, California. Doing an excellent job of stringing some phases together. Earning themselves 5 points and answering a very well-worked UBC try not 2.5 minutes ago. All skills, all players from California in that exchange. Saw a number of different Bears get their hands on the ball as they work their way towards pay dirt. Eventually, Hugo Schroeder, the senior, crossing over the line for his side. Schroeder's had a good season so far, and excited to see him leading from the front for the Bears as Rand Santos adds 2 more to the score sheet. California answering. It's now 15-12 in favor of the Bears with about 5 minutes left in first half action. Good kick from McMullen. Well taken from Schroeder, the try scorer. John Puckett. Hard man is Puckett, the senior from Brentwood, California, the De La Salle grad. As Solomon Williams is going to put the ball high into the East Bay sky. Well chased by Masi Coy. Beauchamp brought down by Coy. Continues to compete is Masi Coy. That's a penalty earned by the Bears. An immediate impact from Masi Coy, the replacement wing for the injured Oliver Newell. You love to see such an impact from the young freshman in such a big game. As Santos puts a very clever kick deep into Birds territory. As Cal again is going to have another attacking line out about 6 or 7 meters outside of the try line. Brought down by Schroeder. Bears in attack. Inching forward. Christ eventually brought down by, I think, his opposite number, Emmett Allen. Bears on the line now. Space here if they can use it. Flicked on by Santos, gathered up by Charlie Walsh, but bundled into touch by the right wing, Liam James. Good defense from Liam James. Doing a good job of keeping the Bears out of the try zone. Although not out of the woods yet are the Thunderbirds with an attacking line out 5 meters away from their own try line. Quick ball now to UBC. I think that's Sol Jacks. McMullen's again going to exit. Masi's Coy going to let it bounce and dribble the ball into touch. It's a good kick from Talon McMullen, all in all. Well exited by UBC. Relieving quite a bit of pressure deep in their own end. Dixon, Williams, Santos. Iramea brought down by James Biss. Threlkeld to a looping Santos. Tackled quite late was Threlkeld. As Joe Kirsten keeping his legs alive. Cade pulling the ball back. Threlkeld going to nowhere. There's space here if they want to use it. Mossy Coy into some space, darting down this left touchline. Puts the ball in behind to Solomon Williams. It's an unbelievable try from California as we approach halftime. Mossy Coy, the freshman winger, continues to impress. And all of the experience and leadership from Solomon Williams, the scrum half. Chasing that dab through from Mossy Coy. Bears playing advantage, I think it was, from an infringement around midfield and taking advantage of the advantage, turning it into 5 points for California. Santos confirming with the referee exactly how much time remains in this first half, as he's going to leave that ball outside the right uprights. Unable to convert. There's the halftime whistle from Morris Fuller. It's 20 points to 12 in favor of California. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with second half action here at Witter Rugby Field in Berkeley. Welcome back, rugby fans. It is a crisp February afternoon at the University of California with second half action set to kick off at Witter Rugby Field. The Bears playing host to the University of British Columbia Thunderbirds. Plenty of action to highlight in that first half. Brings our score 20 points to 12 in favor of the home side. As inside center, Talon McMullen's going to get things underway, and the second half is off with a squirrely kick into California territory. We'll start things off with an attacking California lineout just inside their own 22. Doesn't look like many subs from either side at the break. It's kind of an awkward ball. Eventually gathered up by John Puckett and brought down by the UBC eighth man, Wilson Valdez. Santos to De Beer, putting the ball in behind. It's a good tackle from Boyna on Beauchamp, the fullback from BC. And a penalty earned by the Bears on the backs of a big tackle from Brian Boyna, the sophomore from Granite Bay, California. Another opportunity for the Bears perhaps to work the ball deeper into UBC territory. With a California line out about 15 or so meters away from the try line. Tom Dixon unable to bring it down. Eventually jumped on by Elijah McQueen. Good bit of space spotted by UBC, eventually gathered by Emmett Cook. Cook now rounds his man and does well to stay in bounds. Tackled by Emmett Allen. Good spotted from Santos. Here's Schroeder. Had that ball gone to hand, would have been a good attacking opportunity for the Bears. Now Santos is going to clean things up. Well, might have been turned over, not so. Solomon Williams darting in behind, keeping the fringe defense honest. Here's De Beer. Puckett. Iramea, good hands from the big man. Iramea. Santos. Bit of miscommunication between him and Kirsten. De Beer again. Cal losing their shape a little bit in these last few phases. It's good defense from the Thunderbirds, keeping the Cal Bears in front of them. Tom Dixon keeping his hands alive. Boyna in support. Williams. Santos. Threlkeld inserting himself. Over goes Max Threlkeld. What a way to start the second half by California, taking the Thunderbirds through multiple phases, forwards and backs, at times perhaps losing their shape, but an injection of pace from Max Threlkeld, the Hong Kong international, sees 5 points for California. Not 5 minutes into this second half. Bears back line there, spotting a bit of space, eager to jump on that ball before Threlkeld inserting into the line, getting through a few would-be tacklers. Santos again is going to keep that ball outside the face of the uprights. Leaves our score 25-12 in favor of California. McMullen's going to get us started again opting for the squid kick. They might have spotted something at halftime that they're looking to exploit. Well read by Tom Dixon. Chased by Coy, drops into the hands of a supporting Cade Christ. Numbers in space down this right side if Cal wants to use it. Missed ball to Threlkeld, the try scorer. Here's Cook. Kirsten gets around his man. Threlkeld's inside support. Threlkeld's going to score in the corner again, to where he's become so accustomed as Max Threlkeld. Good recognition of space from the California backline. And good interplay from Emmett Cook, Joe Kirsten, and Max Threlkeld. California starting this second half very hot with tons of momentum. Another tough kick from Rand Santos. This right side, oftentimes the more difficult of the two angles for a right-footed striker like Santos, especially into a steady breeze coming off the mighty Pacific to our west. No bother, says Santos. If it's got the legs, it's over. Calibrating his compass from the last attempt, tacking on two more. Brings our score 32-12, California. McMullen going back to this left side, the more traditional restart. Gathered by Joe Kirsten, gets him around his man. Kirsten again now to Solomon Williams. Boyna into the midfield. Eventually brought down by Wilson Valdez for the Birds. Valdez now poaching the ball, earning himself a turnover. Good individual effort from the eighth man. Talon McMullen's ball charged down by a pursuing Hugo Schroeder and eventually dotted down by McMullen. Approaching the 10-minute mark in this second half. California having come away from the break with all of the energy so far. Santos is going to put a little bit of chip through. Spotted by the referee and well read by McMullen. I think that was Peyton Tanaik, the front rower for UBC. Santos now taking the points when they're on offer. Attempting a shot at goal. If successful, will bring our score 35-12. Plenty of leg from Santos. Makes good on the penalty attempt. Plenty of action in this second half. It's been largely one-way traffic by way of California. The Thunderbirds are going to want to get some momentum back into this game as quick as they can. Wide ball from Williams into Boynia. Another wide ball from Williams. Santos. Threlkeld. Emmett Cook. Kirsten now. Kirsten working the fend. He's got Threlkeld inside. If they can convert, Threlkeld might pick up a third try. And he does. Threlkeld and Kirsten might have spotted a bit of opportunity on this right side, as Kirsten a few times has rounded his opposite man. And Max Threlkeld, having earned himself 3 tries in a row, it's a hat trick for Threlkeld, the junior and Hong Kong international. Another opportunity for two more for the right boot of Rand Santos. Seems to have found his way as Santos. 42-12 in favor of California. About 12 minutes into this second half. See a few changes for the Thunderbirds now with a deep kick from James Biss. Couple of changes for the Birds. I mentioned we're seeing Lenny Bondua on for Max McGavern in the number 20 shirt, and Dimitri Patterson for Talon McMullen in the midfield. Wilson Valdez. Here's Biss. Emmett Cook unable to hold it down, but gathered up by Webb. Eventually knocked on by the Birds. Picked up by Seamus Deely. Offside, says the referee after that kicking exchange. I got to think if you're the Thunderbirds at this point in the match, probably a little more aspirational than 3 points. Selecting an opportunity for a scrum in midfield. Or the Birds. I mentioned it earlier. It's an excellent attacking platform for the Thunderbirds, just out of your screen, directly behind James Biss. Sees Ben Beauchamp, the fullback, stacked directly behind the 10 with a big left side and space available for the Birds to exploit if they want to. Wilson Valdez is going to pick up. Well tackled from Boynia. Alistair Marshall picking up from the base. Jacks now. Birds working their forward pack. Gaining ground with each carry, it would seem. I think that was Tanaik. Numbers and space for the Thunderbirds and an advantage if they want to play it. down this right side. They're 5 meters out. Biss spotting a bit of space, putting it in through Alistair Marshall. A little too much mustard on that ball from Biss. But it was a shot to nothing, and we'll come back for the offsides penalty. I think we're going to see a quick tap penalty from the Birds as Relmu Wilson Valdez shaping over it. Eventually Emmett Allen into Valdez, or Wilson Valdez, excuse me. Eventually gathered up by Jax. Number of phases of high pressure here for the UBC Thunderbirds, not a meter away now. Piling bodies into this ruck. Held up, says the referee. I think that was Charlie Walsh at the bottom of all of that, the Cal captain. Although perhaps something spotted by this near side AR assistant referee Tim Liu. Seems to be all good. I think we're going to come back for a 5-meter scrum for the Thunderbirds. See number 19, Oliver Teague, checking into the contest for California. For the 8th man, Iramea. Some big moments for the big man in the first half. Plenty of opportunity for some big collisions and some big carries. Iramea having spent time with the Cal football team the last few years before making his way further up the canyon to Witter Rugby Field. We're underway with a big push from the Thunderbirds. Ball at the feet of Wilson Valdez. Bit of miscommunication between him and his scrum half. No matter, says Marshall, keeping the ball alive. Quick hands from Biss. And a good effort from the replacement winger, Lenny Bondua. Gets his side back on the score sheet in this second half. You kind of got the feeling that it was bound to happen. UBC being camped out virtually underneath the posts of California for several minutes. And it's hard to escape that kind of pressure from such an experienced side as the Thunderbirds. Plenty of work to do for Bondua. A good individual effort. Stephen Webb, the scrum half, unable to add 2 more. Going to keep our score 42-17 in favor of California as we approach the halfway mark of this second half. I'm Keegan Engelbrecht here at Witter Rugby Field in Berkeley, the University of California playing host to the UBC Thunderbirds here on ESPN+. Deep kick from Santos. I think that's the replacement, Dimitri Patterson. Wide ball from Biss. Well tackled and pursued by De Beer. On Liam James. Webb's going to again deploy the box kick to awaiting Santos. Sharp line from Cook. The big shoulder from Saul Jacks. Excuse me. Numbers in space if Cal can use it. The kick pass to Mossy Coy. Gets around his man. Here comes Coy with a huge tackle on the freshman from the Thunderbirds. I think that was Joe McNulty putting in the shot. Oftentimes a big tackle like that can be the momentum swing a side might need. Marshall tackling Cook. Dixon pulling it out to Santos. Bonia wants to carry. Jumped on by Puckett. Tom Dixon finding a bit of space as a front rower, keeping his legs alive, working his right fend. Eventually brought down by Beauchamp. De Beer with an out-the-ball option, now through his legs. All quite loose from Cal. But they're holding on to possession and working through their phases are the Bears. Here's Walsh now, the captain. Teague. It's good defense from the Birds, keeping the Bears in front of them. Santos with the right step. De Beer. Excuse me, that was Threlkeld to De Beer. Unable to connect. Read well by Biss to a supporting Wilson Valdez, but jumped on by Lenny Bondua, the replacement winger for the Thunderbirds. Mossy Coy's on top of the ball. Biss is slow to get up and back play. Ball dabbed through by Webb, but read well by Teague. Plenty of rugby to be played by both sides here. Spectators got to be loving the multi-phase play. It's a high ball from Williams. Well gathered by Beauchamp. Here's Jacks. Tackled by Williams. Biss with a no-look pass. Liam Kinghorn into space. But to the shoelaces of a supporting Bondua. And each side can breathe a sigh of relief. High energy, high pressure stuff from both sides. The crowd being treated to some champagne rugby this afternoon. Couple of changes forthcoming. Oliver Kirk checking into the front row for the senior Tom Dixon. It's a good afternoon from Dixon, the big man from the Woodlands High School, just outside of Houston. A lot of physical opportunities in a match like this. See another change for the Thunderbirds as well. James Biss limping off to the far touchline. Looks to be a bit of a right leg injury. Sees Caleb Siumanatafa checking into the contest in the number 22 shirt. Another Canadian U20 representative on the field for UBC this afternoon. Here's De Beer. Straight into the replacement, Siu Manatafa. Williams now organizing his troops, shaping for another box kick. Challenged well by Kirsten and Beauchamp. Here's Santos now. Getting through McQueen. Bays for a high tackle, go ignored by referee Morris Fuller. Now an advantage. Excuse me, not an advantage. I think it was a maul called, resulting in a turnover well earned by the Thunderbirds. Another big blindside available for UBC, instead opting to move the entirety of their back line to this open side, all out of frame, but stacked quite flat. Here's Alistair Marshall. Team tackled by Santos and De Beer. It's Wilson Valdez. Sayumanatafa. Bondua. Good hands from Allen. And a big tackle from Christ. Good hands now from UBC. There's space here if they want to use it. Dimitri Patterson brought down, unable to hold on to the ball. Well chased by Kirsten. Webb. Cade Christ making a menace of himself. To Nike. Dabbed through by James. Well tackled by Bondua on Emmett Cook. Here's Oliver Teague now losing the ball in the contact. Not sure how that squirted out. I think it was a stripped effort by UBC. See more replacements for California. Keelan O'Connell checking into the contest for Emmett Cook. Emmett Cook, the sophomore from Alexandria, Virginia. It's a good afternoon from Cook. O'Connell pulling double duty. He featured in yesterday's contest versus Grand Canyon. Threlkeld now. Tackled by his opposite number, Marshall. Santos working his fend, keeping his legs alive. An outlet ball to a supporting Kirsten. Space inside if they can use it. Put down onto the right foot. Here's O'Connell. Tries to hack it through. Does Keelan O'Connell. But eventually jumped on by a frantic Thunderbird cover. Exit now to Keelan O'Connell. And an unfortunate mistake for the replacement fullback. Sees a knock on from O'Connell directly underneath our tower on the halfway mark. It's a guiding scrum. Not sure if you can hear directly in front of the Cal Reserve bench, geeing up their boys. Plenty of passion and energy from both of these university sides this afternoon. We're underway with the ball at the base of the scrum. Wilson Valdez. Webb now. So Manatafa with a very wide ball and a looping Marshall. Good feet from Dimitri Patterson. the replacement winger, Dimitri Patterson. All of that resulting in, I think it was a Bear stepping out of bounds. And now an attacking line out for the Thunderbirds. Looks like we've got a Thunderbird down in back play. I think that's number 4, Sol Jacks. Out of Penticton, British Columbia. Another one of the U20 representatives featuring for the UBC side. I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. So exciting to have this match back on the schedule. First played in 1921. Originally dubbed the World Cup. Having been sponsored by the long defunct Vancouver World News. This is the first leg of a 2-leg series. The second will be played next season in Vancouver. It's great to see the Thunderbirds back in Strawberry Canyon after a 5-year hiatus. It's a good lineup from the Birds. Here's Marshall now. Keeping his legs alive is Marshall over the top of Rand Santos. Wilson Valdez. Very busy as Wilson Valdez. Seems to find his way to the ball quite often. It's a good clearance kick from Keelan O'Connell to his opposite man, Ben Beauchamp. Charged down and picked up by Webb. Backwards says the referee. We play on. Liam Kinghorn darting down the right side. Kept alive. Eventually brought down by Webb. There's Jacks with McNulty in support. Wilson Valdez again. Siumanatafa spotting a bit of space behind. Plenty of pursuit. Knocked on by James. Jumped on by Bondua. We'll see what referee Morris Fuller and nearside AR Tim Liu decide after their brief conference. Knocked on, spotted in the in goal, it looks like. And so I think we're going to be treated to another goal line dropout. More changes for the Bears as Brian Boynia is going to make way in the open side flanker position for Talon Jones. Jones, another Bear, pulling double duty this weekend after having featured yesterday in the Cal win against Grand Canyon University. Santos's goal line dropout, fading out of bounds. So we're going to come back for an attacking scrum for the Thunderbirds on the 5-meter line. And the California Golden Bears under a tremendous amount of pressure. Set piece possession on the 5-meter line as the Birds work their scrum. Here comes Wilson Valdez, brought down by the Bears. Talon Jones making an immediate impact. Can't be more than a meter away, or the Birds. It's try time. Spotted by referee Fuller. Making the most of that errant kick. Quick to take the conversion was Stephen Webb. It's a quick 7 points for UBC, making the most of that possession and set piece so deep in Cal territory. Brings our score 42-24. Little less than 7 minutes remain. Cal having started so well in this second half, perhaps catching the Thunderbirds by surprise. Thunderbirds doing a good job of gathering themselves and turning the tide in momentum. Webb. Seomanatafa unable to connect with Jax. Tough ball, to be fair, to Jax. Maybe a hair flat for the second rower. Now California with plenty of territory and an attractive attacking set piece. We see Masi Coy and Joe Kirsten shaping to this right side with Santos, DeBeer, Threlkeld, and O'Connell at depth on the left. We go right. Kind of an awkward ball for Williams, but he gathers it up. Here comes Kirsten. Tackled out of bounds is Kirsten by right winger Liam James. It's a good tackle from Liam James. The Vancouver boy. Kirsten's been so threatening in this second half down this right side. Well read by James. It's a good line out from the Thunderbirds. Brought down on the 5-meter line. Referee spotted a penalty. I think not rolling away from either Oliver Teague or John Puckett. Unsure. But it's a well-earned penalty by the Thunderbirds, regardless of the transgressor. And we're back underway. Keelan O'Connell, they're spacing numbers out there if they want to use it. Here's DeBeer. Threlkeld. Hack through from Threlkeld. Solomon Williams in support. Eventually dotted down by, again, I think that was Liam James. Seems to be everywhere. Left touchline and right touchline. Deep clearance kick from Stephen Webb into awaiting Santos. Here's Threlkeld again. Now Joe Kirsten gets around Jax. Puckett. Brought down by Wilson Valdez. Santos with an inside ball to his captain, Charlie Walsh. An uncharacteristic errant pass from Solomon Williams, but tidied up by Threlkeld before carried in by Coy. So goes Schroeder. Scored a try in the first half, keeping the ball alive to Cade Christ. Now to Oliver Teague. Schroeder again with a strong carry. Brought down a few meters shy of the try line. Cal's going to work their forward pack, inching ever closer to pay dirt. It's a great tackle, well read by Lenny Bondua. Now a dart from Solomon Williams. Bears continue to working through their phases. Oliver Kirk, the replacement front rower, having a turn. Getting over the whitewash is Kirk. Try time, California. from Oliver Kirk. Another patient try from the Bears, going through a number of phases before eventually earning 5 points for their side. About 2 minutes remain in the match as Santos more than likely to add the extras here directly in front of the uprights. And does in fact add 2 more. About 90 seconds left in the first leg of this World Cup series between California and the University of British Columbia. It's 49-24 in favor of California, as the final subs being used for the Bears. Dom Paga checking in for John Puckett, and Mac Fell for Max Strelkeld. There's Paga with an early touch. Here's Christ. Bears working back and forth here, perhaps looking to bleed the clock. Here's Mac Fell, another Bear who started yesterday, captained the side yesterday for Grand Canyon University, as a matter of fact. Excuse me, against Grand Canyon University, captained for the Bears. Bears working their slow ball protocols, awaiting the clock to tick down to 0, and eventually earning themselves a penalty. I'm sure this will be the final act of today's action. See Santos go ahead and kick it out of bounds. There it is, the final whistle from referee Morris Fuller. That will do it. Cal hits the road this week and next, traveling to Annapolis, Maryland, to take on the Navy Midshipmen before clashing with Brigham Young in Provo in a fortnight. To watch this entire match on replay, as well as all of your ESPN Plus favorites, download the ESPN app. That's it from us here at Witter Rugby Field. On behalf of the entire crew, I'm Keegan Engelbrecht saying so long from Berkeley. Once again, our final score, 49-24 in favor of California. We'll see you soon.